how fast should automakers like Toyota be moving towards stronger environmental standards? The state of California is pushing to impose even stricter regulations than the federal government. By setting its own emission targets, California would force automakers to work on a state-by-state basis, a situation that Toyota says will increase cost for customers.
So what consumers are willing to do, what California is willing to do, what federal government's willing to do, and what automakers are willing to do, all of that has to be aligned. And in today's polarizing political climate, that's very, very difficult to do.
Tom Stricker is Toyota's Vice President of Product Regulatory Affairs.
We'd like to have a better understanding over the next couple of years of what the regulations are going to look like. And of course, if we head into a protracted legal process now, that near-term certainty will be a little bit difficult to achieve. But what's probably more important in the long term is to have stability in the regulations.
Toyota leaders say even the current uncertainty is bad for business.
In our case, a lot of the decisions we make are very, very long-term. When we develop a new family of engines, those may be on the road for 8 years. So I have to be making decisions today, assuming what regulation might be 2025, 2026. So it's really difficult to do that.
Toyota leaders also worry that rushing alternative fuel vehicles to market to meet stricter regulations will leave many consumers behind. They simply won't be able to afford them.
Today, if you look at total alternative fuel vehicles, it's about 4% of the market. 1% of the market is pure electric vehicles. And there are a number of different manufacturers in that business. But the reality is today, no one makes money in that business. So just trying to push more of that volume before the technology catches up is not advantageous to consumers or to the overall industry.
In the long run, however, continually increasing standards are needed, and we've always supported that. And we think that with the right type of ramp rate and the right regulatory structure and a simplified regulatory structure, we can continue to deliver great product, clean product, environmentally friendly product.
The bottom line is we need to find a way to have consumers excited about the new, safer vehicles, more fuel-efficient vehicles on the road, but they have to be able to afford to be able to do that.
The best technology in the world doesn't do anything for the environment if consumers don't purchase it and use it.
Toyota says the small SUV is the hottest segment in the industry. The cost to buy one has gone up thousands of dollars in the past 6 years, but the monthly payment, that has stayed the same.
So you say, well, Jim, how can that happen? Cost is going up, payments staying the same. Consumers are stretching further and further and further. I think we're reaching a tipping point of how much more cost we can put on vehicles, where consumers are going to eventually say, I can't afford it, I'm going to drive my current vehicle longer. The key to really cleaning up the mobile sources of CO2 is not concentrating on the 15 million a year that's sold. It's concentrating on how do we get these older cars off the road faster. We're going to continue to improve the efficiency of internal combustion engines, smaller displacement, turbocharged engines. But we're also going to continue making better hybrids, making plug-in hybrids, making pure EVs, and making fuel cell vehicles. So we're excited about the future, but the important part is, the reason for portfolio strategies, I can't tell you what the winner's going to be yet. Only the consumer will make that decision. So I'm going to continue to invest in all these different alternatives and let consumers decide.
From the streets to global headquarters, national parks, and local ports, environmental innovation is the Toyota way. Just ask CEO Jim Lentz.
It's about continuous improvement. It's about the fact that we believe that there is no best, there's only better.
Better means selling more electrified vehicles than all of its competitors combined. It means focusing on a future that will be hydrogen and creating a workplace powered by solar and wind energy.
When we look at environment, it goes beyond just consumers driving cars. It goes to how do we reduce CO2 in our plants? How do we reduce CO2 in our suppliers? How do we reduce the amount of CO2 when we move cars from plants to railheads to consumers?
Devising solutions to those problems is the job of Kevin Butt, Toyota's Regional Environmental and Sustainability Director.
So we sat down and we started thinking about, not 5 years, not 10 years, but where can we be if we put all of our effort into this by 2050?
And thus the 2050 Challenge was born. Toyota plans to reduce CO2 by 90% in all vehicles, manufacturing operations, and logistics by 2050.
What's really exciting is that we were able to do this type of innovation and then to do it at scale, where we can make huge change over a large area.
But constantly gets to test new ideas, like teaming up with Yellowstone National Park to study how to give used hybrid batteries another life. Park rangers at the remote Lamar Buffalo Ranch have traditionally relied on diesel fuel and propane to create electricity, until this.
We came up with the idea that we could take these 208 Camry hybrid batteries, put in some solar panels to power those batteries so that we could take this new technology that hadn't been done ever and take them completely off of the use of fossil fuels.
Or what about generating hydrogen for 18-wheelers at the Port of Long Beach using cow methane?
You got cow dung, generating methane, converting it to hydrogen to power a fuel cell, then it will generate excess hydrogen that can fuel our 18-wheel trucks in that port. It also will generate enough excess hydrogen that we can put in a fueling station for other customers who will be utilizing hydrogen in their vehicle.
Working with organizations outside of Toyota is another way Butt's team is able to support conservation. Mary Margaret Diotis is the CEO of the National Environmental Education Foundation. Her job is to make the environment accessible and relevant to everyone. Toyota has been a partner for 20 years.
They're very, very interested in what the impact is. And I think that one of the things that they're doing in a positive way is helping us figure out how do we grow that impact.
Like in collaborating for National Lands Day, the single largest volunteer day for public parks every year.
Somebody came up and asked, why are you guys partnering with Toyota? And it was super simple for me to look him right in the face, straight face, and say, because we are really proud of their record. They're very innovative in their approach. They're very committed to the environment through all the work that they do in terms of autos, and really a leader with hybrid.
Lentz says that by 2020, 15% of Toyota's sales in the U.S. will be hybrids, more than any other automaker.
So if you look at the 3.6 million hybrids that we've sold, what's important from the consumer perspective is it's saved over 7.6 billion gallons of gasoline.
That's enough to fill 380,000 average-sized swimming pools. And if you look at the last decade, Toyota says it saved more than 68 million tons of CO2 emissions in the U.S. That's like taking more than 13 million cars off the road for a year.
The more sustainable we become, the more we can reduce our carbon footprint, and that's what we're all about.
Shelley Slater reporting.